pretty people, welcome back to Simply Delish Duo. You guys, today we're going to take you to our kitchen and we're going to show you how to make our beef stew. We love this because it is super simple, it is super tasty, very healthy and very filling and hearty. There's nothing bad to say about this stew. Now, we do have a cold day out today, so this is a perfect meal for today. Great comfort food which just warms our soul. So, if you're new to our channel, check out our other videos and don't forget to subscribe. Alright, let's get started by going through all the ingredients that you will need to make our stew. First of all, we'll start off with the main ingredient, would be beef. So we've got about 3 pounds of, I have round beef. You can use chuck if you want. What I've done is I just find it more cost effective to buy a whole roast and cut them up myself rather than buying them pre-cut already. So we're using I have round. Sorry, and I just wanted to add in, they're just cut into little cubes. Yes, so we cubed them. Where do we start? Okay, we'll start off on this side and work our way down to the right to the left. So potatoes. We're using baby potatoes because they're nice and fresh and seasoned and they're nice and tender. Go ahead and use any type of potato that you want. You've also noticed that we've left the skin on because we didn't want to peel all these baby potatoes. Plus, there's a lot of nutrition in the skin. So yeah, so any type of potato that you want, and we've just cut them up. And it adds flavor. The skin adds flavor. Definitely. So we just cut them up into bite-sized pieces here. 3 celery sticks that we chopped up. Stalks, yeah. 1 large onion, white onion or yellow onion, any onion that you like. 3 carrots that we chopped up. Mushrooms. We're using cremini mushrooms today. Tomato sauce. So this looks like about 2 cups of tomato sauce. Some beef broth. And what I did is we're just using just the beef bouillon here. 2 garlic cloves that we've chopped up, minced up. A bay leaf for flavor. Some oil. Did we mention the oil? No. Some cooking oil, because we need to fry up the meat first. And it's just vegetable oil that we're using today. Right. We said the bay leaf. Flour. We need flour. It's our thickening agent because we like our stew on the thicker side. We don't want it too loose, the liquid being too loose. And in here we have a mix of salt, pepper, and smoked paprika. And it's to your liking. We do it to taste. So about 2 teaspoons of salt, sometimes more, because there is salt in the bouillon, the beef stock. About 2 teaspoons of pepper and about 1 teaspoon of the smoked paprika. So this is the ingredients that we will need. So now let's go to the stovetop and let's start browning our beef. All right, so we're using a large pot today with some vegetable oil that we've just finished heating up here. If you have a Dutch oven, go ahead, use your Dutch oven. We didn't want to pull ours out today, so. And now I'm going to do this in batches because we do have quite a bit of beef here. So first step, I don't know if you can hear me. First step is we're going to brown the beef. All right, so one side's cooked. Now we're going to flip each one over, and you'll notice, I don't know if you can see here, we've got some nice crusted meat burnt into the pot. You want that. That is full of flavor. And we just turned the pot down just a little wee bit so you can hear us. I'm going to turn it back higher, a little bit higher again. So I'm just going to turn all my meat over, remove it, and put in my second batch here. All right, so we're just removing the second batch of our meat. It's got a beautiful, nice chart on both sides. And like I said, that is where all the flavor is. So I'm just going to scrape it up a bit. Yeah, we'll do that with the onions. Yep. And now, just a little more oil, because we will need that for the onions. And let's place our onions in there. You give me the plates. Perfect.
And you describe the cooking here. Let me take this.
So now we are just going to sweat these onions down just a little bit, a few minutes before we add in our garlic and our broth. And the meat goes back into this beautiful pan here. Oh, it smells so good already, you guys.
My tummy's growling.
So, yeah, let's give this about a minute or so. Okay, so the onions have sweated off a bit here. So now it's time to season. So we're going to add in our salt, pepper, and our paprika. And that'll be it for now. We taste, like we said, we taste as we go. And let me add in the garlic. And we'll cook this for another minute or so. And what we did is we added, actually, I don't know if you can see here, we added just a tad, about a tablespoon of the beef broth, just to deglaze the bottom of the pan. Like we say, that's where all the flavor is. So yeah, so we'll cook this down for about another minute before we add in our meat. All right, time for the flour. So we add about 2 tablespoons. Sometimes it depends on how much you're making. We actually have a large batch going here.
I'll stir this up here.
Yeah, stir it up. So we'll add about 3 tablespoons or so. You want to make sure to cook down this flour for a good minute or else it'll taste raw. So this is a very important step. Cook down this flour.
And if you've noticed, we didn't add the garlic in right away with the onion. We added it in after the onion was cooked down a bit because you don't want your garlic to burn and it gives you that bitter taste.
Yeah, so we'll just we'll keep mixing the flour in there and then, yeah, till we put in our meat. All right, the flour has been cooked. So now is when we start adding our ingredients in. So can I get you to hold the spoon here? So let's dump all this meat, including the juice. You'll see there's juice in there because our meat's not fully cooked.
And it'll cook while your stew is cooking.
Oh yeah, that's like we say, that's where all the flavor is. Let me throw this into the sink.
And I'll give it a good mix here. There.
And our beef broth. And let me just add a little more water to this. Just about 1/3 of a cup of water. Our bay leaf for flavor. Oh, and another thing. I never throw out the celery leaves, I guess, yeah. So I throw it into we throw it into our pot here. Just make sure to remove it when it's time to eat. You don't really want to be eating, even though it's edible, but there's a lot of flavor in your celery leaves here. So we throw it in our pot just for extra flavor. And for now, last but not least, is the tomato sauce.
Before the vegetables go in, that is.
Yeah. The vegetables we put in about half an hour before our stew is done. So right now, this is it, you guys. So it's quite simple. There's a few steps to get to this point here, but it is quite simple. So now what we do is what we want to do, let's put it back on a high. We turned it down again so you guys can hear us. Back on a high for a few minutes until it starts boiling. And then we turn it down to a simmer and let it simmer without the lid. And you guys, the longer it simmers, the tastier. And not only that, your beef will be really tender. It comes out really tender. So yeah, so right now, we will just cook this on high, turn it on a simmer, and then we'll be back to throw in the rest of our ingredients. So it's been a good hour. And I think it's time for the vegetables. Look at the broth. It's perfect. It's not overly thick and it's not thin. It's not too loose, so it's perfect.
I'm passing over the vegetables.
Yeah, you pass on the vegetables, and now it's just dump and go pretty much. What I love about this recipe is we make a large batch always because it does freeze well. And actually, I find that stew tastes better the next day. So we've added our potatoes, our mushrooms, our carrots, and lastly our celery. And if you like it a little spicy, you can go ahead and add some cayenne pepper or hot pepper. But with my stew, I prefer it not too spicy because, like I've mentioned in our past videos, I'm a wimp. I don't eat too much hot foods, so spicy foods, I should say.
And if you want more salt, go ahead and add more salt and pepper.
And we did taste. So we tasted this just before we added in our vegetables, and it was perfect. But like BB said, if you want more salt and pepper, go ahead. It's to taste. And what I like about this recipe too, there is no right or wrong. You can add whatever vegetable you want. You can throw in some zucchini, sometimes I even put in some peas, some frozen peas, just to give it a pop of color. But today we're just gonna stick to our traditional stew. This is how we grew up eating it. My mom made it this way, although she did add additional vegetables sometimes. She would add squash and
zucchini for sure.
Yeah. So now, and if you find that it's too thick, go ahead and add a little more water. But right now we're going to cook it down for about 20 minutes or half an hour until our vegetables are fork tender. You do not want your vegetables too mushy. I'm going to turn up the heat a bit again. And yeah, so let this simmer for 20 minutes, half an hour. We'll be back to plate it. All right, you guys. We just removed our beef stew from the stovetop. Doesn't that look delicious? Jam-packed with vegetables and beef. It's full of flavor.
I already plated mine because I want it to cool off before I eat a little bit. And I just wanted to add also, we also made some corn bread to go with our beef stew. This is also hot to the touch here. But if you want to learn how to make our cornbread, we will be uploading these two videos together, pretty close together.
Back to back. We'll do it back to back.
So you will learn how to make our cornbread and our beef stew.
So we hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you for watching Simply Delish Duo.